All right, let's call the September 27th, 2021 Bethel Inland Wetlands Commission meeting to order. First item on the agenda is introduction of the commission members and the staff. I'm Ken Stevens, Chair of the Bethel Inland Wetlands Commission. Patrick?
Pat Perrefort, Secretary.
Gregory?
Greg Johnston, Commissioner.
Pat? Sel?
Pat Sell, Commissioner.
Mary Churchill?
Mary Churchill, Recording Secretary.
David?
Dave McCollum, Inland Wetlands Agent.
Okay, just before we go to the next item, for the record, David informed me earlier this evening, unbeknownst to me, Pat Sell is seated as a permanent seat until after the next election, and she's not an alternate. She'll be participating as a full member until after the election. So welcome, Pat.
Oh, thank you. I can't see anybody, but thank you.
All right. Okay. Next item on the agenda would be old business, Stony Hill Road number 7. Who do we have representing Stony Hill Road number 7? I'm sorry, Chris, we can't hear you.
Is that for Target?
There you go.
Yes.
I apologize, Mr. Chairman. It froze up and I didn't hear what you said. I apologize. But good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, and Mr. McCollum. For the record, my name is Chris Smith. I am a land use attorney with the law firm of Alter and Pearson, and I appear before the commission this evening on behalf of the owner applicant, Target Corporation. And concerning this twofold application / request, we have filed an application seeking approval of conduct associated with a proposed 13,000 square foot addition of the Target store located at 7 Stony Hill Road, also known as Route 6. Or in the alternative, we have requested from the commission a declaratory ruling or determination that the proposed conduct associated with the store expansion does one of two things. It does not involve a regulated activity, or it is within the scope of the prior approved wetlands permit in the early 2000s when the store was approved by this commission. And in either case, under the last two scenarios, a new wetlands permit is not required. What I'd like to do is introduce the team that's with us this evening. And first, on behalf of Target Corporation, we have John Dietrich, who's the Senior Real Estate Portfolio Manager for the Target Corporation, and we'll be hearing from John in a moment. We also have Brandon Roebuck and Michael Youngins, who are licensed professional civil engineers with the firm of Kimley Horn Engineering and Landscape Architecture of New York, PC. And we'll be hearing from Brandon very shortly. What we propose to do for the commission and is kind of follow the cover letter that we submitted with the application. I will provide you with an overview of our application or request for declaratory ruling. And then we'll have Brandon Roebuck will walk you through with an overview from the civil side of the proposed expansion. But I believe at the outset, John Dietrich of Target would like to provide some opening comments to the commission this evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for hearing our application tonight. John Dietrich, Senior Real Estate Portfolio Manager. Excuse me, caught a little cold over the weekend. Portfolio Manager, Target Corporation, 1000 Nicollet Mall, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55403. Tonight's request really has been handled by Mr. Smith and Brandon Roebuck of Kimley Horn. It's our request to go through the process so that we have the ability to ultimately expand our building at our Bethel store, as we call it, by approximately 13,000 square feet. Target is on a very robust nationwide campaign in order to reposition our stores to be more of just a brick and mortar store, but what we call an omni-channel. The order online, the order pick up in store, the order online drive up stalls that people have come to really expect, and our guests have really taken to requires a lot of flexibility, nimbleness, and how we run our stores, from a back room to the front room to presentation of product on the shelves. So we are very pleased to be here tonight. I know we are here for the wetland discussion element of it, and I will back out and leave it to the experts here. But we are very pleased to have a proposal in front of your commission tonight and the Planning Commission of Bethel tomorrow in order to reinvest in our store in Bethel, Connecticut. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. Again, for the record, Chris Smith. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, again, we have submitted an application. Well, first of all, as you're aware, there was a wetlands permit that was approved for the regulated activities that were associated when the store was constructed in the early 2000s. And there is a small wetland area with an associated watercourse, and Brandon will be walking you through this in a moment, that are located on the southern part of the property. And essentially the water from that wetlands and that watercourse are piped underneath the site into an outlet of a detention basin. And this was all approved by the commission with the existing wetlands permit, and that will not change. And again, Brandon will touch upon that in a moment. What's important for the Wetlands Commission with our request this evening, we believe, are a couple of facts. And one is that the wetlands and watercourses on the property and associated with the property are located both up gradient and upstream from the existing store and the parking areas, and in particular where the store expansion will occur, which is over a parking area today. In addition, the wetlands are separated from the developed portion of the site by a retaining wall. The proposed expansion will be located over an existing parking area that is located outside of any regulated area, including your upland review area. And as you'll hear from Brandon shortly, there will be no increase in impervious surface or related stormwater runoff. In fact, there's going to be a slight reduction. And the existing stormwater system for the site is working properly and has not had any history of issues relative to its functioning over the years. And therefore, and just as an overview and wrapping up our request this evening, we respectfully submit that the proposed store expansion will not result in a regulated activity. And it's within the scope of the existing wetlands permit for the store. And more importantly, and we felt that this was important, and Dave McCollum felt that it was important too, we did have a wetlands report prepared for you by a professional wetland scientist. It's been submitted. It's dated August 30, 2021, and prepared by Kimley Horn. And this was submitted and with the application, and the professional wetland scientist did opine and conclude that the conduct will not result in an adverse impact to a wetland or watercourse. It satisfies the statutory factors for consideration provided by section 22A41 of the Connecticut General Statutes and your criteria provided by your regulations, which, as you're well aware, essentially incorporate those factors that are set forth in the statutes in our Wetlands Act here in the state of Connecticut. And therefore, we submit that the commission could modify and approve the prior wetlands permit to include the conduct, because there really isn't any regulated activity associated with the store expansion. However, in the alternative, what we respectfully suggest probably makes more sense is that the commission find that the conduct that's associated with this store expansion, again, over an existing parking area, does not involve a regulated activity that would require a new wetlands permit, and that the conduct is within the scope of the prior wetlands permit. In either of those two cases, a new wetlands permit would not be required. However, as a courtesy to the commission and at the recommendation of Mr. McCollum, we did file a full application for the commission as if there were regulated activities involved, just so that you would have that in front of you. But again, I think that that provides you hopefully with a summary of what we're asking for. But we do think it's probably worthwhile, unless you have some questions for me, to have Brandon Roebuck just walk you through the civil side of the plan itself for the presentation this evening. And I don't know, Dave, if you can pull that up, or if Brandon can do a screen share, we can I know there was an exhibit that Brandon had prepared to hopefully simplify this for the commission and anyone listening this evening.
Yes, Attorney Smith, screen sharing is enabled if Mr. Roebuck wishes to bring up that PDF of that site plan on his screen, he is free to do so.
Okay. Good evening, members of the commission. As Chris stated, my name is Brandon Roebuck. I'm the civil engineer for Target on the project, located out of Kimley Horn's White Plains, New York office. So I will briefly walk you through the site and the existing ecological resources that were found on the site. So starting on the right-hand side of the page at Stony Hill Road, Route 6, as most of you know, to enter the site to the existing Target, you have to drive up a pretty steep driveway up into the parking field. When looking south at the main entrance of the store, the proposed 13,000 square foot building addition will be located on the left-hand side of your view. Basically where the gray hatch is here. As Chris alluded to previously, a perennial stream and small wetland were located during the delineation that was performed by Kimley Horn on May 20th, 2021, this past spring. It is located in the rear of the store above an existing 10 to 16 foot retaining wall over here where my cursor is right now. The flow from the stream goes from the south to the north and is picked up by an inlet structure with a throat and a grate on top. Once the water gets into the inlet, it is then dropped down underneath the wall via storm piping and routed around the building to the west via a 48-inch pipe. The 48-inch pipe is then carried underneath the whole site and actually underneath an existing stormwater basin located in the northwestern portion of the property. The pipe is then connected to the outlet control structure, bypassing the detention facility, and is then routed underneath Route 6. It is outletted into the area between Route 6 and Interstate 82. Is it 82?
84.
84, I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter.
And then it is picked up via another culvert, a 54-inch pipe routed underneath Interstate 84 and outletted into Stony Hill Brook. Going back to the proposed site improvements associated with the 13,000 foot building expansion, the parking lot located to the east of that expansion will be modified with some restriping and some new landscape islands and an incorporated lawn area. The other part of the project Chris alluded to and John alluded to was the need for the store to function for the online purchases. And a part of this, they will be relocating 8 drive-up stalls which were initially over here, existing over here, and relocating them closer to the building expansion. The building expansion will be used mainly for fulfillment and stock area. The last bit of the proposed improvements to the site is a minor reconfiguration of the entrance into the parking field. We are proposing to get rid of 5 parking spaces and extend an island, which will allow us to widen the access into the parking field from 24 feet to 30 feet at this location.
Great idea.
Getting back to the existing ecological resources on site, as Chris alluded to, since they are above the retaining wall and all the improvements are happening at the parking lot level, we feel that there are no anticipated negative impacts to any of the existing ecological resources on the site. With that, I'll pass it back to Chris for a conclusion.
Brendan, if you could just leave that up and maybe just scroll that direction, that's good, just so that the commission can see. And I know that this is part of the application already, but you can see the wetland in the water course to the south there where the hand is at the moment. And then Brandon has provided the upland review area designated there. And as you can see that all of the store expansion is going to be well away from any of those resources, which again, from somebody who sat on a wetlands commission for 16 years, which I think is important, also is the fact that this is somewhat unusual where the wetlands itself is actually, as I indicated, it's upstream. So the water within the wetlands itself is traveling from left to right, south to north, and it's also elevated. And it's protected by a retaining wall, set off from a retaining wall. So the resources are and we know it's not a high quality wetlands, that area, but it will remain unaffected in the sense that it will have the same wall, the same characteristics and protection, so to speak. And I'm saying that in quotes, that it has today, as was originally approved by this commission. I know that you were probably, many of you were, maybe some of you were on the commission at that point in time way back when. But again, in conclusion, we do respectfully submit to the commission that the conduct associated with this 13,000 square foot addition and the minor reconfiguration that's occurring in the parking area does not involve regulated activities that would require a wetlands permit, and that the expansion of the store itself is within the scope of the prior approval, not requiring any new wetlands permit, and therefore we would ask for a determination or a declaratory ruling that such is not required. In the alternative, as we indicated, certainly as recommended by Mr. McCollum, and as a courtesy to the commission, we did file a full wetlands application, even though, again, we respectfully submitted no regulated activities. But regardless, we wanted to assure the commission that any of the conduct associated with the site improvements would, again, not result in an adverse impact to a wetland or a water course. So that concludes our presentation, and we're more than happy to respond to any questions that you may have relative to our request this evening. And thank you again for this opportunity, and Mr. McCollum for working with us to get to this point this evening.
Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate the input and the presentation. Does anybody on the commission have a question for the target representatives? I don't have any. I think it was stated very well, and I think it's easy to understand and know where we're going, so I appreciate it. No questions?
Okay. I would advise Ken that if there are no questions from the commission, that we get a poll, an informal poll, if you will, as to whether or not they feel that the declaratory ruling that procedure that I had suggested to the commission during our previous special meeting on September 13th is the appropriate course of action to process these activities that are proposed.
I support that activity. Patrick?
I do as well.
Gregory?
Yeah, I do.
And Patricia?
Yes, I approve, Patzell.
Okay, so what I have in the Google Drive for your consideration, if I'm able to share my screen tonight, is a declaratory ruling, a draft version of same for 7 Stony Hill Road. I'll give you guys a chance to peruse it if you have not done so already.
I read it and it looked fine to me, David.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, this is pretty boilerplate for a declaratory ruling. The bulleted or the items listed in that bullet, those are the sheets in that site plan sheet set that I had put in the Google Drive for this meeting and for the previous meeting. And the other item would be that memorandum from the professional wetland scientist and Mr. Youngins of Kimley Horn that reiterates that there are no proposed adverse impacts to the regulated wetlands area or any activities within the on-site upland review area for that matter, and part of these site activities here. So barring any other comments or questions from the commission, I would say we should get a motion on the floor for this.
I make a motion that we issue the declaratory ruling to Target Corporation as written by David.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Greg Johnson, aye.
So moved.
Pat Shell, aye.
Thank you, Pat. So moved.
Okay, thank you very much on behalf of our team. We appreciate it, and stay safe. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming.
Thank you
by.
very much,
Thank you, Dave.
commissioners.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Okay, David. Next item. Business items. Minutes from our 6/28 meeting.
Okay, I did not have those in the Google Drive for tonight. The thought process for that was, this was a bit of an education for myself as well. This commission, per its charter, which I did include in the Google Drive, is comprised of 5 members and 2 alternates. Over the course of this year, we have 2 vacated seats, one of which is a full member, or one of which was a full member seat, and one of which is an alternate. So that being the case, there's only 5 of you left to just go into layman's terms, if you will. So all 5 of you, in effect, are acting as full members. So the fact that Pat Sell was not seated per se for her to have partook in the June 28th, 2021 meeting. It doesn't make any difference because just by default, she is acting as a full member until that vacated seat is filled following the results of the elections coming up in November, as Ken had described at the opening of this meeting. So barring any other corrections that needs to be made for those meetings minutes, I would say, or I would suggest or advise to the commission that there's nothing wrong with the way they are written, and pending your acceptance and approval of same, they should be okay to file.
I would agree and make a motion that they be accepted and put into the record. Do we have a second? Patrick, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Greg Johnson.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. And David, you mentioned earlier that we don't have the minutes from 9/13 and we'll defer review and approval of those until our November meeting.
Yeah, that was my mistake. Mary had worked so hard to get those right for tonight's meeting, and I'm letting her down. I'm not letting you guys see the fruits of her labor, so to speak, because I forgot to put them in the Google Drive. So my mistake. I'll have those in for the commission's next regular meeting, I believe, which will be on October 25th.
Thank you very much. The next line item would be the Northwest Conservation District invoice that we debated and discussed at our last meeting.
Yes, I don't really want to get into the thick of things and try to persuade the commission to act on that invoice tonight. I've had some exchanges with the director or the soil scientist from the Northwest Conservation District, Cynthia Rabinowitz. Some of you commissioners may remember her from her work for us for 2 in the wetlands applications. I believe she was a third-party consultant for us for 47 Shelley Road. And I believe she also did some work for us for an application for 9 Good Hill Road. She had discussed with me, her interest in making a presentation to you guys, either for your November or December regular meetings. I had tried to get her for October, but I don't think that will work out. She's unavailable. I would like to have this happen sooner, but all the same, when that presentation does happen, she would like to ask you guys what the subject of that presentation would be. I believe it's in her interest that the presentation she would make would serve as the educational component for the line item of the invoice that you guys received. So if you guys want that to go into soil testing and methodology and how that's done, or the water courses and resources, or et cetera, or anything else that you guys can think of, just let me know. Doesn't have to be tonight per se. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a suggestion on that. Maybe the best alternative is that we wait until either December or January, when you'll have several new members on the board who might, or on the commission, who might benefit more from what Mrs. Rabinowitz is going to share with the group than some of us who are not going to be resident any longer.
Sure. That's a great comment. To that effect, I would say, I don't want us to get behind and have us do stuff for this year, next year. And to that effect, I would say, these presentations that Ms. Rabinowitz would like to make, I don't see why the commission couldn't have those happen annually. So my suggestion to the commission would be, let's try to keep things current for this year, and then if there's an educational opportunity next year, which I think would be a great idea, let's have it served for the next fiscal year. Right. The bottom line is I don't want to try to have I don't want to put the commission in a compromised position where I think they should have 2 presentations when we're trying to consolidate and just go for one. Of course, that's just my suggestion.
David, the services have to be performed for the commission prior to the end of the year so that the payment can be made in full. And you don't want to stretch that into next year, so the payment is cut this year and added to next year?
I guess that's part of it. I think it's good for the commission just in general to have services rendered for the fiscal year that they're meant to be rendered for.
Especially if we're going to pay for them.
Right. That's a fair point. And I don't want to get.
Let me revise my recommendation.
Mhm.
Ms. Rabinowitz is available in the month of December. That's when your new members will be on board. They're sworn in early in December. The meeting is typically, I think we typically do it mid-December because of the holidays.
Yes.
But again, I think new members would probably benefit to a much bigger degree for information presented from Northwest Conservation District than those of us who are currently on the board, but in all likelihood won't continue on the board after the election.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So I will indicate the commission's preference for.
I mean, speak up, guys. If you don't agree with me, speak up. And if you want to have something for the October timeframe, then by all means, don't be quiet about it.
I'm okay with either, whichever way it falls. It's not a big deal to me. So
Well, you're relatively new anyway.
Seems that way
Comparatively
because
speaking.
we only had a 9-month period maybe where we met in person. So
You're right.
I have a lot less hair now.
Don't we all?
So just so that the commission can consider the special meeting that we would have for December, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think that would be either December 6th or December 13th. I'd have to go back to my calendar to take a look.
When is the swearing in of the new members?
Usually that first week in December.
So what was the first date?
December 6th.
So would it, the swearing in
I
before
don't know the
December?
date. I
You
wish
see
it
what,
would.
yeah, December 6th wouldn't work if it's, I would say it have to be the latter.
Yeah, let me take a look here at my schedule, guy, or at the schedule you had approved for this year, guys.
And could I just, for my own information, Nico, ask who you are?
Nico,
Yeah,
you-
hello. Good evening, everyone.
I'm
It's
sorry.
nice to meet you all. I'm just, I'm on the Democratic ticket for the inland wetlands.
Oh, well, welcome. Glad you could join us.
Thanks.
Welcome aboard.
Hey, Pat. Hey, everybody.
Good
Hey,
evening.
Nico and I have met previously, so welcome, Nico.
We just don't usually have people we don't recognize hanging out at our meetings, so.
Yeah, no, right on. I was just here to kind of listen. I want, and I guess I wanted to just say hi and just listen in.
Perfect.
That's
Welcome.
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, Ken, I'm looking at the schedule the Inland Wetlands Commission approved at the end of last year for this year. The regular meeting that we have for December will occur early. It will be on Monday, December 6th.
Yeah,
So
and
I don't know where
swearing
that
in
fits
is
in
usually
with
like
the
a
swearing
Tuesday,
in.
or maybe the 7th. I don't know. So then schedule whenever you want then, David, because if we can't do it before, you know, if the swearing in is after the 6th, then
Mhm.
it's the purpose, right?
Well, I mean, the commission can always move, vote to move their regular meeting to December 13th, or we could just have a special meeting for the new members for that purpose, if you
Let
are
me
so
ask you-
inclined.
David,
I
let me
think we
ask
should-
you if we could put this on hold for tonight. And
Okay.
maybe you could check with the first selectman's office to find out when that swearing in meeting will be.
Yep.
And then we can make a decision once we have that information. If you want to do it in the email, I'm fine with that.
Done.
Patrick, did you want to, I'm sorry, I cut you
No,
off.
I was just saying we should do it before the new member gets sworn in, so you have to sit through the whole presentation yourself, Ken. I see what you're doing.
I'm pretty transparent. What can I tell you? Nico, in case you were wondering, I'm concluding my 4th four-year term on this commission. I have decided not to run for reelection.
That's bumming me out, Ken, but that's okay.
Okay.
Patrick will be here, though. Have no
Right
fear.
Right on.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up, Ken.
All right, David, I'm sorry. Next item on the agenda.
I'm pulling that up now.
Application revisions.
Yes, thank you.
Well, you did a fine job.
I am pulling up on the screen now the revisions that I had made to oh shoot, it's not the right one, is it? Well, I'll pull that up on
It was in an email you sent to us.
yes, it was. It was an email that I had sent to you and Pat, Ken, but
It's also it's in the Google Drive.
yeah, it is, and I'm realizing now, Greg, that was not the correct version that I had meant to send. So
So I
my
could throw this one out.
apologies.
We're good. Okay.
So my apologies for that. What I'm going to do is get the right one up for you guys. If you all can see on my screen here. Okay, there we go. So it had been asked, and a good point had been made by Ken, I believe, at our last meeting, that we have a section of the inland wetlands application that addresses the lawn signs that are going to be posted on a property that's subject to an application. There was a request that in putting language in the application that it was made clear to the applicant that they have to post this sign in such a way that it's visible from a public right of way, and that there's a certain period that it has to be posted to go in accordance with how we proceed with public hearings, because that's I think what the intent for these land use application signs is for. So if there's any questions with how this is written, I think it's pretty straightforward. It may seem a little wordy, but the bottom line is that no sooner than 15 days and no less than 10, an applicant has to put out a land use application sign along a street so that passersby know, hey, there's an application that's subject for review by the Inland Wetlands Commission here, or whatever land use commission for you guys. I guess this is the purpose it's meant to serve. Let me let me know. It serves as a way for them to know how to get more information about it.
One quick question.
Go ahead.
Do we need to state in there that that sign is to be paid for by the applicant, or is that assumed in that wording?
That's going to be added to the fee scheduling if it's necessary. For
Okay.
what I understand, the payment for the land use application signs comes to us because it's the land use office that's ordering them. And
Okay.
then if there's any remuneration that gets made, it will be made to the town and not to some third party or what have you. In other words, it all gets coordinated through us. So and if remuneration for that is necessary, it would get put on the fee schedule.
Okay, thank you.
All right, everybody good with this language? I thought you did a great job, David. Thank you.
It looks
Thank
good.
you. Okay, so you guys will be seeing that on the next inland wetlands application that you receive. Not to get into anything too lengthy tonight, but there's going to be a pretty intense application that's going to be up before the Inland Wetlands Commission for their review. I anticipate that you guys could get it as soon as your November meeting. It in all likelihood would probably be either December or in January of next year, but I just want to make sure you guys know that it's coming. So if there's any materials that you guys have to help you review with how our commission process works, I guess this is more for the members that are going to be through for next year. Or if there's any questions you have with how we conduct reviews, whether they're site plan reviews or public hearings, just let me know, because I want to make sure everybody's streamlined and, well, not streamlined, so to speak, but that there's an understanding for how we do things and how questions get asked and so on and so forth.
I
So
would make a suggestion, David, just based on history. A refresher on process is always a good thing.
okay,
Whether the commission wants to set aside a special meeting for just the commission for you to take them through that process, or whether you want to do it at a regular scheduled meeting is entirely up to you guys. But I think a refresher for the current members as well as any new members is always a good idea, especially if we have some critical applications coming. It would be best if everybody was crisp on the process and understood exactly what had to be done.
okay,
That's all. The end.
okay. And I don't think I have anything else for you guys tonight.
Can I guess, I don't have the schedule and I can't find it. When is our November meeting? Is it the 23rd?
So we have, oh, right, okay, I can see why you're asking about that now. I believe
I'm
it's
going
on
south.
November 22nd. It is the week of Thanksgiving. But I'll go back to the meeting where you guys approved the calendar last year to confirm that. No, it is in fact November 22nd this year.
We didn't move it. Okay. That's fine. I just wanted to make sure I had it on my calendar.
Yep. I'll send you guys. I'm trying to be good with this now by sending you guys a calendar invite with a request for a return receipt. I usually like to have that done the Monday by the Monday after we have a commission meeting, so that you guys have ample time to know when our next meeting is, just as a reminder. And then if there's any concerns about us having a quorum or anything else to that effect, we have ample time to prepare and coordinate around that.
Can I bring up one other item, David? And I hate to be the one who prolongs the meeting, but some of the boards have made a decision to go to a hybrid model for their meetings. I actually listened in, as Nico's doing tonight, to the planning and zoning meeting, their last scheduled meeting, and they did a hybrid. And David, I think you would agree it was awkward at best. Some people were in the municipal center and some members were sitting at home on Zoom. I personally think we've got Zoom down to a pretty good process, and that we're very efficient in our Zoom calls. If anybody wishes, and David, I think the offer is still there from the town, right? If anybody wishes to go to a hybrid model, you might want to talk about it. My preference at this point would be to continue with Zooms until further notice.
Right. Thank you for that, Ken. And just to embellish on that, the executive order that came out from Governor Lamont's office, I forget which one it was, but it is up to each
7,622.
It might as well be. But each individual land use commission, or any commission for that matter, they have the decision for whether or not they conduct their meetings virtually, in person, or hybrid. It's up to them. And yes, there was a hybrid meeting that the Planning and Zoning Commission conducted last week, I think it was, or the week before. And since that meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission has decided that it's best for them to not continue with hybrid meetings, and they're going to be sticking with Zoom. The way that it's safe for us to, or that it is safe to conduct hybrid meetings in the municipal center, to use Ken words, it's an awkward setup. You have to make sure you have the separation distance within the municipal center between commissioners and members of the public, so you're all spread out. And even just to have a small number of people in attendance, you have to have a lot of space to accommodate that, because meeting room D, it's just too small. And then furthermore, the audio, it can be hard to hear people that are presenting, or vice versa, sitting in the general purpose room, because the microphone's only so loud, and the only microphone that picks up folks, for folks that are listening on Zoom, is on the computer itself.
And it was muffled by wearing a mask, which.
Right. Yes, that compounded the issue even more. So it's ultimately up to you guys how you want to handle your meetings. Beth had had prepared a memorandum for you guys at the last for the last meeting. I think that just reiterated that meeting room D essentially it won't work for the time being for hybrid meetings. And I think with what the Planning and Zoning Commission experienced with their hybrid meeting, I don't think we need to repeat the same awkwardness and whatchamacallits that you would have logistics wise. I think Zoom,
I totally agree, but I wanted to open it up to the commission.
yeah.
So, Pat Parafort, so I am in favor of hybrid meetings when the time is ready. I don't believe that time is now, and it may be months away. All the reasons I just heard of not to do hybrid meetings when I was on the Charter Revision Committee was the exact same reasons we could never do virtual meetings. So we got over that hump. I think we'll get over the hump eventually on hybrid meetings. I think it's beneficial. I think you can have more participation. I'm all about options and information and all that. I don't think right now hybrid meeting is really an option. I think it's down the road quite a ways to be able to do so, to go to a hybrid. Right now, I think it's not an option.
Thank you, Patrick. All right, do we have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Let's close. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Nico, come back next month.
I will. It's great to meet you all and great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Nico.
Nico, good luck.
Take care. Thanks a lot.
Good night, everybody.